Hi guys, my name is Kieran of One Zen Academy. I hope this finds you well. I'm just going to give you a brief talk on Achilles tendonitis or tendinopathy, which is the long-term issue with regards to the tendon. It's quite a common injury that a lot of people get, especially runners or anyone who puts a lot of force through that area. Now, normally the Achilles is quite resilient. It's a spiral tendon and it literally takes 50% of all propulsion moving forward. So it's quite a tough little cookie to break, but inevitably it does break if we repeatedly overuse it. Now, the Achilles itself is located at the bottom of the foot. I know what you're thinking, this picture is awesome, I know. So we've got the Achilles here, we've got the soleus, which is the bottom part of your calf. So if you grabbed it down here, and then the gastrocnemius, which is your calf muscle. Now, these all tend to blend in together, and as we bend our knee, as our foot lands, we deactivate this gastrocnemius and we activate more soleus and Achilles. And Achilles blends into your heel and then under the foot. Now, if I'm running and my biomechanics, as my foot is landing, is incorrect, and I'm increasing load through that, or I've got an issue with my knee or my hip, and we're increasing loading through the ankle, then I may develop or I may overuse that area, and that area may become inflamed. Now, it may not even be the tendon. There's a sheath over the tendon, like a type of fascia called the paratendon, that sometimes gets irritated and inflamed. So all is not lost with regards to the Achilles. And just because your Achilles is hurting doesn't mean it's completely torn or anything like that. Okay, if in doubt, do get it checked out by a qualified professional, sports therapist, physiotherapist, osteopath. But generally speaking, just general aches and pains, this is really what we're looking at. So what do we do about it? Well, initially you want to, from 0 to 3 days, you want to immobilize or support. Now, I appreciate that's not always practical for a lot of people like myself. I have to be able to move around. So I may wear some comfy shoes with a slight heel in, just to take the load off the Achilles. It's important that you give it rest period during this time because it will be inflamed. Now, there's a lot of other therapists that would say you need to control the inflammation through use of ice and anti-inflammatories. There's actually a lot of evidence for and against this. So use it as you will. I tend to use ice as more of a pain relief rather than an anti-inflammatory, because inflammation has to happen in order for the recovery process to start. So sometimes when we overuse the anti-inflammatory medication or ice, we can actually stagnate the recovery process. And having been injured quite a lot, I can tell you now, it's made relatively no difference to me. So 0 to 3 days rest and support. 4 to 10 days gentle stretching, and I put on here, do not force the stretch. So when we're looking at gentle stretching, we're only really looking, so when you get injured and inflamed, things get stuck together. So when you apply a stretch for an area, there's layers upon layers just before the muscle, and you apply a stretch to these. As you come out of the stretch, it actually hydrates the area and stops things from sticking together. So basically, in essence, you stop things from becoming worse in the long run. It actually aids in the start of the mobility as well. So in order to keep the blood flowing, the circulation going, nutrients in, the damaged products out. So imagine that area is like a building site when it first gets injured. In any building site, you have to clear the area first, and that's why it's normally hot, that's why it's inflamed. So what we're doing is we're allowing this doorway to open to allow nutrients in, the byproducts, the rubbish out basically, and stop things getting stuck together. So do not force a stretch. Go to the point where you can feel the bind. Hold 8, 10 seconds and then come out of it. Okay, you can hold for longer if you feel it's relevant, if you feel it's doing you some good. And that's more from a psychological point of view. 11 days to 3 weeks, this is where we can start eccentrically loading. So eccentrically loading would be the lengthening of the muscle under tension. Now you can go on Google, YouTube, wherever you can really. I'm going to be posting a video of what that eccentric loading through the calf actually looks like on my YouTube channel. But in essence, you go up onto your tiptoes, you take your good leg away, so all that load is going through your bad leg, and then you lower your heel. So basically you need a step. And you're looking for between 6 to 8 repetitions for this, and then you rest. Eccentric loading through the Achilles has been shown to produce dramatic results in rehabilitation, and it is a must for this area. You don't have to wait until it's fully recovered. It's a very resilient tendon. So that's through that, and there's mobility. And I've got another video on YouTube called 3D mobility for the ankle. Look at that, and that's when you would start doing this. So it's about knowing that the body moves through all 3 planes of movement, sagittal, frontal and transverse, and how we mobilize our ankle through all 3 planes in order, again, to stop things from sticking together and make sure that the area recovers fully. And then 3 weeks plus, basically as above, so this area here, and this is where you can start light jogging, multi-directional movement. So you start gently putting it through its paces. But it's like going to a swimming pool. You wouldn't necessarily just dive straight in. You may dip your toe in, test the water, and then gradually put more and more body parts in. Well, this is what I do anyway. It's the same here. You don't want to just go out, well, I feel like my Achilles is good, so I'm just going to go out and do a sprint, because that is bonkers. What you need to do in an ideal world is dip your toe in the water. You need to start with a brisk walk. Okay, how does my body respond the next day to a brisk walk? Oh, it's okay. I then go from brisk walk to a light jog, maybe just 5-10 minutes. See how your body responds, see how the Achilles responds the next day, and then you build it up gradually. Okay, don't just go from 0 to hero, because you'll more likely just crash and re-injure the area. You have to build it up gradually. It's better to progress slowly than try and go from 0 to hero and then back to 0 again. Okay, it's quite demotivational. But the Achilles is very resilient. You can build it up gradually as if nothing had ever happened. And I know, because I have injured my Achilles before, so I'm fully aware of what goes into this. Okay. For further questions or issues, concerns with regards to the Achilles and the Achilles rehabilitation, please go to my website, www.onezenacademy.com. And you'll see in the blog area there's all sorts of stuff on rehab, health, wellness, etc. Alternatively, look at the other videos on my YouTube channel. There's 3D ankle mobility, and there will be eccentric loading through the Achilles coming shortly. My name's been Kieran. Thank you very much for your time.